Jacque, in Orlando, 5-3 in the seeding round, but swept here in the playoffs. When you look back at these 12 games, what jumps out at you, whether it's individual stuff from Caris and Jared or something else?
Really, it's the resilience of our team. We talked about we had an extreme resilience as a group, a competitive nature about us as a group, and a sacrifice as a group for the men who came. And extremely grateful for this group and the time that we spent together. Like I said, Tom, we're forever linked, and I appreciate everyone who stepped on that floor and everyone who helped the men step on that floor.
Greg?
Caris struggled at times during the series, but he had a big game tonight and didn't get much help. What do you think that he gained out of this whole experience with so much of the load on his shoulders?
Great test for him, Greg. I think you saw him become much more verbal on the floor, a better recognition of what needed to be done on the floor on both ends, an accountability level with himself and with his teammates. So great growth from him, an experience I hope he deems as worthy. We definitely appreciated his sacrifice.
Brian?
Jacque, both you and opponents that you have played have talked about how resilient this group has been so far in the bubble. Now that the season is officially over, I mean, just how important is it to you personally that that kind of resilience was apparent to Sean and to the powers that be, and that hopefully you'll be around next year? Just how important is that to you?
Yeah, Brian, I think you always, as a coach, you want to bring out the best in your group and maximize your group. That was the challenge I had at hand, accepted that challenge. And I'm thankful that I got a chance to coach these men. Throughout the course, you could be examined from different eyes. That's why I think it's so important at this time of my life and my career that I showcase who I am. I hope every man and that woman in that locker room said that I was authentic with them, honest with them, held guys accountable, and that didn't change from day one.
Alex?
Jacque, kind of piggybacking off of Greg's question. Now, obviously, the first few games of the series, Toronto tried to make Caris more of a distributor than a scorer, and then tonight he was able to get the scoring aspect. Just what, either on your end or whatever Caris was able to do, what do you think allowed him to be more offensively active tonight than maybe compared to some of the other games in the series?
Yeah, Alex, we really tried to push the pace tonight to not let their defense get set. It ran a toll on our group overall. The minutes start to add up. When you're playing a team as athletic and long, it just takes a toll on your body physically every game. But we really tried to get out in transition. If it wasn't transition, it was an early offense attack also, so which really got him going downhill.
Christian?
Hey, Coach. Just what was your message to the team after tonight's loss, and what was the mood in the locker room after everything?
Yeah, I told him, Christian, that in times like these, me as an individual, I lean into gratitude, and that I was extremely thankful to have the opportunity to coach them, thankful for our performance group for getting those guys ready to play. Thankful for each and every person in that locker room, from whether they made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, whether they got a uniform ready, whether they made a free throw. That we don't know what's going to exist in the future. And so I hope that they've learned one thing, is that you take advantage of the now.
Ian Begley?
Hey, Jacque, before you guys went down to Orlando, Sean Marks, I think, said that it wouldn't be fair to judge you on wins and losses given the state of the roster. But obviously next year the roster, we think, is going to change. You guys obviously get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving back. There's uncertainty with the coaching situation, but do you think that you would be a good coach for Durant, Irving, and whatever the team looks like next year?
What I am confident is my skill set as a coach, my ability to communicate and have relationship with guys, my ability to adjust on the fly, adjust with individuals. Those things I'm very comfortable with. Comfortable at this stage of my career of having voice and choice with my players. Very comfortable at this stage in my career of having truth and transparency with management. Very comfortable in my career of having a care and competence level with my performance staff. So those things hopefully were showcased. But at the end of the day, I'm very comfortable with all those aspects.
Greg?
Jacque, you mentioned before the uncertainty that the whole league faces about next season, and then you throw in all the changes that are going to happen with this franchise. So how valuable do you think it would be to maintain, for the franchise to maintain some form of consistency with you? And then also, how would you describe your relationship with Kyrie and KD at this point?
I think the biggest attribute is having the emotional skill to lead not only yourself, but lead others, and especially with uncertainty. I've said before, Greg, my relationship with the guys who aren't here in the bubble remains consistent. The conversations via text or messaging or phone, not only with the two that you name, but the other guys on the roster. And for me, that's important. My role right now is head coach, and I've tried to serve every inch of that capacity.
Last question for Coach Alex.
Jacque, I know this is immediate, but this season obviously started in China with everything that happened there at the time. And then, the coaching change, all the injuries you guys had, the pandemic. I guess just what will you remember from this season? And I guess since you already have kids, if your grandkids were to ask you how to sum up this season, I guess what would just immediately come to mind, given, for lack of a better word, just all the craziness that has happened for you guys since October?
Well, hopefully this was a paradigm shift towards conversation about social change. Hopefully this was an opportunity where my kids remember that their dad was able to talk to a group of men, not only about basketball, but about life. And hopefully they are extremely proud of the way I represented the organization. There are a lot of things that go hand in hand. And Alex, I'm extremely grateful, man. I just, this time in my life, you just don't know what it's going to look like going forward. And I'm reading Dr. King's last book, and he was talking about some of the change that will and might and should happen. And we're still in the area where we're trying to make those things change. And so a lot of work needs to be done. I think there's a social element to it. But the game of basketball is a beautiful game that I love being around. Half my life in this NBA, and hopefully many more years to come, partner.